Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. The Royals test coming up in 3 series. The Royals will play the Dodgers, Cleveland Guardians, and New York Yankees. But they'll start with Guardians tonight. Royals can get closer to the Guardians in the 3-game set. As the Indians are 39-20, the Royals are 36-25, 4 games back. So a sweep would make them 1 game back. Series win would make them 3 back. And they lead the wild card right now to the Royals as the placement works like this. Baltimore Oilers 38-20, Royals in second place 36-25, Twins in third place at 33-26, and the Tigers are 30-30, 3.5 games back of the wild card. As of right now, the Royals will be set to play a 3-game set on the road. So all of these teams are in first place. The Dodgers, Guardians, and Yankees. But as we said, we start with the Guardians. The Royals had an important span of making 10-9 or 11-8. I can't quite remember. The Royals need to close in on 500 against teams that are over 500. That's how you win, go to the playoffs. Royals are just 14-19 against teams over 500, but are really beating up on the bad teams. Today they'll get their first chance at Cleveland Guardians, and then they'll get the New York Yankees and LA Dodgers, as we already said. Royals need to get 500 or better to draw even. The Dodgers and Guardians are on the road. Tonight we start with the Guardians. Seth Lugo will be on the mound. One of the best pitchers of the season, 9-1, will get the start against Tristan McKenzie, who will go for the Indians. Game time 5:40. Seth Lugo is 9-1 with a 1.72 ERA. We're going to get in some Royals bullpen arms they could add later this week. Here's Jeff Passan with more as they talk about who they could add, the Royals, what their strengths are, who they could add to the outfield.
Taylor Ward, Brian De La Cruz. I mean, I'm just thinking of teams that I know are going to sell. Right. Harrison Bader. Like, there's just not a lot out there in terms of outfield bats right now with teams. Lane Thomas in Washington. It's not Mark Canha in Detroit, maybe. It's not great.
Right. Nobody from the Mets. Maybe they like to buy prospects. There isn't. They wouldn't be ready for a reboot.
They do like to buy prospects, but I mean, do you want Starling Marte kind of washed? Do you want Harrison Bader? Do you want to take on Jeff McNeil's contract? I mean, that's that wouldn't be the worst thing, but it's $12 million plus a year, and the outfield defense isn't great. The infield defense isn't great. He will give you professional at bats. There's no question about that. He doesn't strike out a lot, but he's hitting 230 right now, and it's a soft 230 as well. So it's not great, man.
No, it's not
great, and it shows you why having that organizational depth is such an important thing, and it takes years to build. It takes years of good drafts to build organizational depth. Where if what's panning out at the big leagues right now isn't working, then hey, maybe we go to an internal option. The Royals, I don't think they have that right now. As close as Gavin Cross might be, I just don't know that he's the sort of guy that you plug into the lineup right now and say, I feel comfortable that he's gonna be a value add for us.
Yeah, no, Marte was the guy I was thinking that, they'd be like, okay, we'll get a decent prospect and we'll pay most of his salary, which would be something that I think the Royals would like. And so,
yeah, I don't even think Marte would take a decent prospect at this point. I think if the Royals take on a good chunk of the money, that Because I don't think they should trade a decent prospect for Starling Marte. I don't think that would be smart.
No, and I don't think that's why I like the name, because I don't think they'd have to. And I think the Mets would just give him away. You mentioned Michael Massey. To me, it's so disappointing that he has another back injury, because he was just entering the area where you're like, okay, let's get that guy signed. It's not going to take a Bobby Witt Jr. deal to get him signed. You can get a reasonable deal together with him because he really still hasn't proven himself, and lock him up. And now you got the middle of your infield set. You're probably looking at Michael Garcia maybe the same way. If Vinny Pasquantino will at least stay healthy and have a decent year, you can be looking at locking up that whole infield after this year, or maybe even during the year, and you feel pretty good about where it is, and then you can go spend some money out in the outfield in the offseason. But when it's a back injury,
are you ready to give Massey a long-term contract?
No, but I think they like him more than the industry does. And the way he was hitting, I get that sense. And the way he was hitting, he was starting to prove like, okay, it's okay to go ahead and let that infatuation, go ahead, fall in love. Go ahead and sign him up, because the price won't be much. And I think, his age and everything, he's probably going to want the money, because it's not like let's get the free agency and get a big contract. So I thought it might be the perfect little storm for a player that would want the deal and a team that would want to give it. But there's no way a small market team can give a guy with a bad back any kind of security. You're better off just let him play and take the arbitration. That's what's frustrating.
If you could give him a Whit Merrifield type deal, that's something certainly that you at least have to consider doing. And Whit Merrifield's deal turns out was a really good one for the team.
But you can't do that with a bad back, can you?
Probably not. But I think if you're going to be in that price range, let's remember, Massey's only a 1+ in service time, which means that he's not even reaching arbitration until after the 2025 season. So the Royals have him at the minimum.
The Cardinals lost, and how MJ Melendez should not be playing at all. And tonight, they're giving MJ Melendez an off day. Hunter Renfroe will play right instead of MJ Melendez. Renfroe is not off to a great start, as he has a 178 batting average, just like MJ Melendez, who is hitting not good at all either. Royals have to find some depth, and that's what Jeff Passan talks about. Here's that with more. NBA Championship will be on Thursday. We'll talk about that more. Learning Disability Day will be tomorrow. NBA Championship between the Lakers. Learning Disability Day will be Wednesday. And Friday we'll go out about a series of accepting people as we present pride, and that will be over. That's that this week. We're also going over accepting people in general. NBA Championship preview will be Thursday, as the Mavericks will play the Celtics. We'll preview that with lineups and also more. That game will tip off Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern and 7:30 Central. The NHL Stanley Cup, to see who comes out of the championship with the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. At one time, the Oilers won 5 in a row, but haven't won since 1990. The biggest contributor to that was Wayne Gretzky, who won 4 in a row, probably the greatest hockey player of all time. Face-off is at 7:30 Saturday, ABC. Panthers to host, 8 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Central. We'll go over players to watch out for. Also on Sam Von Smack, baseball and NBA season too long. Pros and cons, as I think it should be shorter. Pros and cons of the NFL expanding to 18 games, which will probably eventually happen. Is this billionaires and billionaires wanting more money? That's not for me. For selfish reasons, I may want more football, but we'll get off to the benefits in that. And the benefits and disadvantages. The reason I want more football is so I can watch more football. That's selfish reasons. Not anything to do with injuries or anything like that. We'll do more research on that and more. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report.